Hello and welcome to Gradient's weekly roundup of key business and financial developments in Sri Lanka for the week ending 18th February 2022. Here are the top stories for this week. 2021 trade deficit widens by 26% on rising imports. EPF and ETF to be exempt from super gains tax. Maha season rice harvest may decline by 30%. Government announces relief measures to ease cost of living. We will also briefly look at other notable news that made it across to our news desk and wrap up with the capital markets update. In this week's top story, Sri Lanka's trade deficit reached $8.1 billion in 2021, up by over $2 billion from a year earlier. Merchandise exports had a remarkable year, rising to $12.5 billion, up 24.4% year on year, but was offset by merchandise imports increasing to $20.6 billion, up 28.5% year on year, resulting in the higher trade deficit. Export growth was led by textile and garments, which reached $5.8 billion, up 22.9% year on year, tea of $1.3 billion, up 6.7%, and rubber products of $1 billion, up 33.6%. Imports were mainly driven by fuel, rising to $3.7 billion, up 47.2%, textile and textile articles of $3.1 billion, up 31.3%. Machinery and equipment, which was $2.8 billion, rose 29.1%, and building materials of $1.2 billion was up 20.6%. High fuel imports was mainly due to rapidly rising global prices, with Brent crude oil reaching a 7-year high. Additionally, food and beverage imports grew to $1.7 billion, up 7.2%, while COVID-19 pandemic-related expenses drove healthcare imports to $882.5 million, up 48.2%. According to Basil Rajapaksa, Minister of Finance, the Employees Provident Fund and the Employees Trust Fund, as well as 9 other funds, will not be subject to the 25% retrospective tax, which was gazetted last week. Confusion rose over the definition of a company, with pension funds being included in the income tax law. On a separate note, the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce urged the government to reconsider the surcharge tax bill. It suggested several alternatives, which includes 10% income tax surcharge on all taxpayers, multiple rates of the income tax surcharge depending on the level of income, credit to be carried forward for paying the one-off tax, or imposition of the tax on a prospective basis. According to Duminda Priyadarshana, Vice Chairman of Paddy Marketing Board, the Maha season is likely to generate only about 70% of the harvest due to the organic fertilizer program, resulting in about 2.3 million metric tons of paddy. To meet the shortfall, the government is allowing the import of 400,000 metric tons of rice from Myanmar and India, and is also expecting 1 million tons of rice from China. Meanwhile, the United States Department of Agriculture's Economic Research Service warned that Sri Lanka's rice imports will hit a 5-year high of between 453,000 to 600,000 tons in 2022 due to a shift to organic farming, resulting in reduced harvest for Maha season. The government recently announced relief measures to ease the cost of living. This include a 2,000 rupee worth of essential food pack to low-income families and wheat flour at a concessional rate to estate worker families. The food packs will be given to 40 identified low-income families in each Gram Sevaka division on a monthly basis. Wheat flour will be sold at a concessional rate of 80 rupees a kilo, less than the 120 rupee market price. Such measures are part of the 229 billion critical relief package announced in January. In other news, according to the Ministry of Tourism, 50,326 tourists arrived in the country during the first 15 days of February, increasing the cumulative figure for 2022 to almost 133,000. Russia continued to be the main source market, followed by India, the UK, Ukraine and Germany. The SRTDA reported 4,677 arrivals on the 12th alone, just shy of the recent high of 4,825 recorded on the 25th of December. On a related note, the European Union delegation to Sri Lanka allocated funds to help strengthen the local wellness tourism capacity to transform it into an attractive destination for wellness tourism. The Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index rose to 58.7 in January from 58.1 a month earlier. This was driven by improvements in new orders, production, employment and higher stock purchases. However, suppliers' delivery time lengthened as respondents experienced delays in receiving goods due to obstacles in clearing shipping documents, opening LCs and congestion at the port. The services sector PMI declined to 57.5 from 62.4 in December, with new businesses, business activity, employment and expectations rising at a slower rate. Respondents noted that import-related restrictions and inflationary pressure are negatively impacting their businesses. According to the Board of Investment, 20 BOI enterprises entered into supplementary agreements to expand their existing operations. The agreements were reported to be worth $165 million. Aitken Spence, APIT, Bodyline, Dialogue Asiata, Unicella and Mars Legato were among the companies listed. Raja Idrisurya, chairman of the BOI, stated that despite the slowdown of economic activities in the world due to COVID-19 pandemic, the BOI is delighted to welcome the existing investors who have initiated reinvestments under the purview of the BOI. Now let's take a look at the weekly movement of the All-Share Price Index and the S&P SL 20 Index at the Colombo Stock Exchange. Here's how the rupee performed against the dollar this week. In other market news, the Central Bank of Sri Lanka revealed that $111.5 million have been raised through the direct issuance of Sri Lanka development bonds during the 1st January and 15th February 2022 period. The maturities range from 3 months to 5 years. The Colombo Stock Exchange invited applications for new trading members from eligible entities to carry out REPO transactions on the debt securities on the recently implemented over-the-counter platform. As per the CSE, this will further regularize opportunities for investors, trading members and other corporates involved in the fixed income securities market in Sri Lanka. And with that, we wind up for this week. Follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube for more economic insight as well as interviews with Sri Lanka's key industry personnel. Until we see you again next week, thank you for watching. Stay safe.